Imagine this. The legendary Alexander the Great, dead at just 32. Instead of leaving clear instructions for his burial, he left behind a mystery that has puzzled explorers and historians for centuries. His tomb, often referred to as the Holy Grail of archaeology, has been the subject of countless searches, all ending in frustration. So, what happened to Alexander's body after his death? The story goes like this. After Alexander passed away in 323 BCE, his powerful companions began fighting over his vast empire, eventually tearing it apart to establish their own kingdoms. One of these men, Ptolemy I, wasn't a major figure during Alexander's reign, but he eventually took control of Egypt and founded a dynasty that lasted for centuries. The details surrounding Alexander's burial wishes are unclear. His appointed successor had planned to send his body back to Macedon, but it never made it there. Ptolemy, seizing an opportunity, intercepted the body in Syria and redirected it to Egypt. At the time, Ptolemy was ruling from Memphis, as Alexandria, the city that would later become famous, was still under construction. As a result, Alexander was temporarily entombed near Memphis while a final resting place was arranged. Fast forward to the 19th century, archaeologists discovered a temple dedicated to Pharaoh Nectanebo II near Saqqara, south of Memphis. This pharaoh was the last native ruler of Egypt before the Persians took over in 340 BCE. Some archaeologists, like Andrew Chugg, believe this temple could have been Alexander's original temporary tomb in Memphis. Here's why. The temple was relatively new when Ptolemy needed a burial site, and it was likely the most recent grand, non-Persian structure available. There was even a spare royal sarcophagus belonging to Nectanebo, making it a perfect temporary resting place for the legendary conqueror, close to Ptolemy's seat of power. Adding to the intrigue, statues dating back to Ptolemy's reign were found near the temple, suggesting that royal attention was given to the site. There's even an ancient, far-fetched tale that Nectanebo was Alexander's father, possibly inspired by the connection to the pharaoh's tomb. Alexander's grand tomb was once a major tourist attraction, drawing visitors from across the world, but then it vanished without a trace. The last confirmed sighting was by the Roman Emperor Caracalla in 215 CE. He even took some souvenirs but replaced them with his own gifts. After that, mentions of the tomb and Alexander's body become scarce. There are, however, a few hints. A writer named Libanius claimed to have seen Alexander's mummy on display around 390 CE, a period that coincided with the Theodosian decrees, which shut down pagan temples across the Roman Empire. Being a shrine dedicated to the deified Alexander, it likely fell victim to these laws. Saint Cyril of Alexandria even mentioned the stripping of treasures from Alexander's cult centers, though the tomb itself wasn't explicitly referenced. By the 400s, another writer, Saint John Chrysostom, dropped a bombshell. Both the tomb and Alexander's body had disappeared. Finding the tomb today is no easy task. Alexandria is a bustling modern city, making large-scale excavations nearly impossible. Moreover, the tomb might have been destroyed over time or even swallowed by rising sea levels. Another complication arises. Was Alexander even buried in Egypt in the first place? In ancient Egypt, it wasn't uncommon for bodies to be relocated. Perhaps Alexander's remains were moved to a secret location, making the search for his tomb a red herring. As a result, the quest for Alexander's tomb is more of a multifaceted pursuit. One approach involves finding the ancient crossroads of Alexandria, which could provide clues to the tomb's location. Local legends point to a specific area, but without solid evidence, it's like chasing shadows. The search for Alexander's tomb has led treasure hunters and archaeologists on a centuries-long wild goose chase, with several potential candidates emerging. One contender is the Nebi Daniel Mosque, located just a stone's throw from the suspected site of the ancient crossroads. In 1850, a famous archaeologist attempted to secure permission to excavate there but failed. While scholars doubt the mosque houses the actual tomb, its claim may stem from a genuine historical memory of the tomb being nearby. Across town, the Adarine Mosque also stakes its claim, having attracted the interest of Napoleon's archaeologists in the 18th century. Although they didn't find Alexander, they did uncover a repurposed sarcophagus, belonging to none other than Nectanebo II, the pharaoh who ruled Egypt before the Persians. This discovery raises questions. How did the Adarine Mosque acquire this sarcophagus, and why is it so close to the estimated location of Alexander's tomb? It seems like more than mere coincidence. While the mosque itself isn't likely to be the tomb, the presence of the sarcophagus and its proximity to the suspected site offer promising leads. The search doesn't end in Alexandria. Some have ventured further afield to the Siwa oasis, where Alexander was declared the son of a god. However, no historical evidence supports the existence of a tomb there, and recent claims of its discovery have been dismissed by experts as efforts more focused on boosting tourism than historical accuracy. Another hopeful candidate, the Casta tomb, discovered in 2012 at Amphipolis, also turned out to be a dead end. No remains of Alexander were found, and the artifacts pointed away from any connection to him. So, does Egypt remain the frontrunner in the tomb hunt, or is there another possibility? Enter archaeologist Andrew Chugg with a bold theory. Alexander might be in Venice, mistakenly identified as Saint Mark the Evangelist. You might ask, how could this be? The twist is that Saint Mark, credited with writing the Gospel of Mark, was believed to have been martyred in Alexandria around 60 CE, with his body destroyed by fire. However, a curious twist came to light. A 4th century text claimed otherwise, though it was later revealed to be a 6th century forgery. Then, in 392 CE, Saint Jerome's writings mention Saint Mark's body being present in Alexandria. Here's the suspicious part. This miraculous reappearance happens right after the Theodosian decrees, which led to the closure of pagan temples, including the possible destruction of Alexander's tomb. Coincidence? Maybe, but Alexandria is a vast city. There's more. The supposed tomb of Saint Mark lies near the modern Saint Mark's Coptic Orthodox Cathedral, conveniently located just 200 meters north of the suspected site of Alexander's tomb. Here's the timeline. Alexander vanishes around 390 CE as pagan sites are being shut down, and then, just 2 years later, Saint Mark's body mysteriously appears in the same area, despite centuries of claims that it had been destroyed. Andrew Chugg doesn't stop at proposing a wild theory, he backs it up with some intriguing evidence. He suggests that Alexander's tomb was simply given a makeover during the Theodosian decrees to protect it from destruction, transforming it into the tomb of Saint Mark. The story takes another twist. Venetian merchants, unaware of the switch, supposedly stole Saint Mark's remains in the 9th century, smuggling them out of Alexandria and eventually building a church in Venice to house them, the present-day Basilica di San Marco. The timing and location of these disappearances and reappearances seem more than coincidental. Chugg goes even further. During renovations of the basilica in the 1960s, a peculiar piece of stone carving was found. The stone, originating from the Eastern Mediterranean, depicted imagery strongly linked to Alexander's Macedonian heritage, a shield with his royal house's star and a distinctive spear used by his army. Recent analysis suggests this fragment was part of a sarcophagus casing. Interestingly, its size didn't match any known sarcophagi in the basilica or any Macedonian artifacts. However, it matched one sarcophagus perfectly, Nectanebo II's, down to the millimeter. Chugg argues this fragment is proof that the Venetians unknowingly took a piece of Alexander's actual tomb when they stole what they believed to be Saint Mark's remains. Intriguing, right? Reviewing the evidence, Chugg's theory, while seemingly far-fetched, starts to make surprising sense. It connects several previously puzzling dots in the long search for Alexander's tomb. According to Chugg, Alexander was initially buried in Nectanebo II's sarcophagus in Memphis, and later, both the body and sarcophagus were moved to the Soma. There, a special casing was built for the sarcophagus to protect it. For over 700 years, the tomb remained undisturbed, until the Theodosian decrees forced its transformation into a Christian monument dedicated to Saint Mark to avoid religious persecution. Alexander's body disappeared at the same time and place where Saint Mark supposedly reappeared, and the local memory of Alexander's tomb nearby persisted, even though the story of Saint Mark was fabricated. Centuries later, the Venetians, believing they were taking the remains of their patron saint, inadvertently stole Alexander's body along with a chunk of the tomb's casing. Back in Alexandria, the empty sarcophagus ended up in the Adarine Mosque, where its connection to Alexander's burial somehow lingered in local memory. If Chugg's theory holds water, the famous tomb of Alexander the Great might still be buried beneath the streets of Alexandria, right where local legends and archaeological studies have pointed all along. However, Alexander himself has likely been gone for over 1,000 years, possibly resting, ironically, within the Basilica di San Marco, mistaken for a saint. Unfortunately, confirming this theory would require examining the remains in Venice, something the Catholic Church and the city are unlikely to allow anytime soon, leaving the debate unresolved for the foreseeable future.